Cool Britannia, présenté par Ian Callen, une émission en anglais, un voyage dans les musiques britanniques.
Hello and welcome to Cool Britannia, a radio show for people who love British music, living in and around the Verdon area. Or perhaps you're on holiday here and you've just tuned in. As you will notice, this show is presented in English, so for those of you who like to hear the English language with some British songs from all ages and genre, then you have tuned into the right show at the right time. We have a special guest today on the show, Nico Lfts, a Frenchman who teaches English at Riez College, a little town in the Verdon area. He will be talking a little later on about his experiences teaching English to French teenagers. Hi Nick, how are you?
I am delighted to be here. Thank you for having me. How about you?
I'm very well, thank you. And do you like British music?
Yes, I do enjoy British music, especially from the 60s to the 90s.
Okay, and you're going to be choosing 3 of your favourite British songs too, and you'll be giving a story behind each song, which I'm really looking forward to hearing a little later. Okay, on with the show, and to our first song. I have many inspirations in my life when it comes to music. One of them, a DJ whose name is Fun K. He was always clad in a red Elvis-type jumpsuit that revealed his hairy chest and medallion, and without fail, he would play this song every set. So, Fun K, if you're out there, this one is for you. Let's rock.
Takes a long time. The odor of all prison food takes a long time to pass you by. Day upon day of this wandering gets you down. Nobody gives you a chance or a dollar in this old town. Hunger and silence from you is a giveaway. Squalor and smoke's not your style. I don't like this place, we better go. Then I compare notes with your older sister. I am a lazy cat, she is as pure as a cold driven snow. Solitary cell of your mind, there is noise to distraction from anything good, and the old prison food. Colour my life with the chaos of trouble, cause anything's better than posh isolation. I missed the bus. You were laid on your back with a boy with the Arab strap. Boy from the Arab strap. you stagger about, making free with your dude and lascivious pose. We all know you're soft cause we've all seen you dancing. We all know you're hard cause we've all seen you drinking from noon until noon again. You're the boy with the filthy laugh, you're the boy with the Arab strap. Comic celebrity takes a back seat as a cigarette catches and sets off the smoke alarm. What do you make of the cool set in London? You're constantly updating your hit parade of your 10 biggest...
Released in 1998, Belle and Sebastian's Boy with the Arab Strap. Originally, Belle and Sebastian started out as a school project in Glasgow, and they were put together by Stuart Murdoch. And they did intend to split up after 2 records, but they're still going, and they have released a new album recently called How to Solve Our Human Problems, and they're on a UK tour in March too. Full details on their website. There is actually a French connection here. The name for Belle and Sebastian came from the French children's TV show Belle and Sebastian. I note though that the band spell the Sebastian part of their name I-A-N as opposed to I-E-N, which is on the French TV show. A little detail, but you might get it in your next pub quiz. Did you watch Belle and Sebastian? Out of interest, Nick?
I'm sorry to say I did not. This show is a bit too old for my generation.
I have received some requests since the last show, and I'll try to play as many as I can. One request really stood out to me due to the name of the band, Flock of Seagulls, a band from the 80s that I've never heard of. Kay from Saint-Tropez, down there in the Var, would like to hear the song I Ran, a one-hit wonder from this new wave outfit with haircuts that were very space age. Well, apparently 2 of the members were hairdressers, which explains the crazy haircuts. Don't forget, this was the 80s when everything around how you looked and what you wore was taken extremely seriously. Kay has also sent in a fantastic story as to why she has chosen I Ran. Kay says, I was living in Great Yarmouth in the early 80s and a big fan of the new wave movement and was going to see Flock of Seagulls play live. My boyfriend and I were getting ready and he was in the bathroom. I heard a scream, then a thud, so I went to the bathroom to find the window wide open and my boyfriend lying on the ground 2 floors down. Apparently he'd been sitting on the windowsill and slipped backwards, so we ended up at hospital having my boyfriend's arm put in plaster and missed the concert. Never did see them live. Crikey, I hope your boyfriend made a full recovery, Kay. So here is Flock of Seagulls with I Ran. The video for Flock of Seagulls, I Ran, to me epitomises all that is 80s pomp. Lots of makeup and layers of hairspray, making haircuts look like helmets, and they don't move in the wind. Thanks, Kay, for the request, and if you'd like to hear a song, then remember you can write in with a good story as to why you chose it. I came across a Scottish folk band from the 60s called the Humble Bums. They are a duo consisting of two artists who went on to become famous in their own separate ways. One was Billy Connolly, now a famous comedian, and the other, Jay Rafferty, famous for writing hits like Baker Street and Get It Right Next Time. This next short song called Travel Away offers you a choice between travelling away for a year and a day and do all the things that you've dreamed of, or you could stay at home and wait for your rich aunt to die. Which would you choose?
Travel away for a year and a day. Forget about ties that could bind. Do the things you'd like to do, say the things you'd like to say, and leave half your problems behind. You could sail on the oceans you've read about. You could fly in the sky above your head. You could walk through the forest of time-sculptured trees and run toward the greener grass ahead. Or would you rather hang around your own familiar town, just waiting for your rich aunt to die, while the grass that grows beneath your feet isn't even half as sweet as the grass that lies beyond the sky? You could sail on the oceans you've read about. You could fly in the sky above your head. You could walk through the forests of time-sculptured trees and run toward the greener grass ahead.
Some good philosophy from Billy Connolly and Jay Rafferty. The Humble Bums, so charmingly put together with that bouncy bluegrass melody. Have you travelled away before, Nick?
Yes, I recently went to Jordan. It was really an eye-opening experience.
And did you get to speak English there?
Yes, I did.
Okay, we'll move on to the next song. From one Scottish folk male duo from the 60s to a modern electropop female duo consisting of two friends from school in Norwich who started making music together when they were just 13 years old. Only 17 years old when they recorded this song, Deep Six Textbook, in 2016. They certainly sound mature beyond their years. Another great name for their band too, Let's Eat Grandma, which is actually a play on words from a software that people in the UK use for their grammar. Let's Eat Grammar. Anyway, another interesting fact for you there. Poor grandma. An unusual song by Let's See Grammar Deep 6 textbook. A cross between Kate Bush and Björk. What do you think? Nick, you're an English teacher at Riez College. What is it that you like about the English language, and what made you become a teacher?
Well, I love traveling, and English is the most helpful language to communicate around the world. Why did I become a teacher? Like many people, when I was younger, I went to university, but I did not know what I wanted to do with my life later on.
Mm-hmm.
But besides my studies, I worked for 3 years as a school monitor. And that's when I understood that teaching would be a great experience.
Where was it that you were a monitor?
It was, I began in 2013 for 3 years, and then I got my exam to become a teacher.
And where was that?
That was 2 years ago.
Where, sorry?
Where, sorry, yeah, it was in Chambéry, in France, in Savoie. And when I did become a teacher, the first thing that struck me was the fact that the emphasis in the learning was not in writing anymore, as when I was young. It's on speaking. To be able to communicate has become the major...
And why do you think that's changed?
Maybe it changed because the world changed, and today you need to be able to communicate in English when you are on the workplace. You cannot avoid English in the world today, so it has become a major subject, which it was not before.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you've chosen a song. Would you like to tell us which is the first song that you've chosen to play, which is a British song?
Yeah, I would like to play Brothers in Arms from Dire Straits. This song gets me every time. It helped me understand quite early in my life a defining trait of my personality. Any form of violence disgusts me.
These mist-covered mountains are a home now for me, but my home is the lowlands, and always will be. Someday you'll return to your valleys and your farms, and you'll no longer burn to be brothers in arms. Through these fields of destruction, baptisms of fire, I've witnessed your suffering as the battle reached high, and though it hurt me so bad, in the fear and alarm, you did not desert me, my brothers in arms. every man has to die. But it's written in the starlight, in every line in your palm. We're fools to make war on our brothers in arms.
That was Dire Straits with Brothers in Arms from 1985. So, Nick, could you continue telling us a little bit about your experiences of the differences between how students engage with the English language today in comparison to when you were learning English?
As I said, when I was young, English was bonus. Nowadays, it is becoming one of the major subjects in school, and I think it affects the way we see it and how pupils see it. When I was younger, I was afraid to talk in class, in English class, because we were made to speak perfectly. We were not allowed any mistake to be made in our speech, and I think it's not right. And today, what I'm trying to do as a teacher is to make pupils comfortable with their mistakes, to make them understand that's how you learn language. So you make mistake and you try to communicate anyway.
So you said that a lot of emphasis now is on speech. Is the reason for that because of the internet, do you think, being a massive, because it's pretty much English, isn't it, the internet and all computer technology?
Yes, of course, it has affected the way we see English in France. Many children, I think, understand that English is a global language today, and the language of internet and video games. So they must use it one day, and they know it. So they have to make the better of it.
And when we were talking earlier, you mentioned a point which I thought was interesting, which was about communication between French businesses and global businesses. Before they couldn't really communicate effectively verbally. Is that another reason why there's an emphasis on speech rather than written?
Yes, it has an impact. I think the industry is pushing the education to go towards more English, to be more to have people more flexible in their work, and that involved being able to communicate in different languages, and firstly English.
So have you noticed a difference with your students that you teach? Are they more confident speaking, or are they afraid of making mistakes still? Some
are still afraid to make mistakes, but I'm trying to loosen their fears, and it's something difficult to do because it's not. It goes against everything they've been trained to do until then. So. Yes, it's something that is not natural for French people to be allowed to make mistakes in their studies.
I mean, without getting too political, is that because the other lessons that they're learning, are they being taught that they shouldn't make mistakes as well? Still?
I don't think in other subjects they're allowed to make many mistakes. So when they come to my class, they do something very different from what they used to. And it's something that takes time to get used to.
So are your methods of teaching quite revolutionary then?
I don't think I am a revolutionary. I think I'm trying to do my best, and I think the language is meant to communicate, and that's what I'm trying to teach the children.
So, we'll talk a little bit more about your job, but next you're going to choose your second song and tell us why you've chosen it.
Yes, I chose Iron Maiden's Fear of the Dark because it reminds me of my high school days. And I think metal music is underestimated. The musical value and the technical nature of it are high, while the lyrics are usually well written and meaningful too.
Dark road at night or strolling through the park. When the light begins to change, I sometimes feel a little strange, a little anxious when it's dark. Fear of the dark, fear of the dark. I have a constant fear that something's always near. Fear of the dark, fear of the dark. I have a phobia that someone's always there.
When you're searching for the light,
a dark road. I am a man who walks alone.
That song released in 1992 from Iron Maiden, who have been going for 40 years with 16 studio albums to their name. Another question for you, Nick. The French I've found very protective of their language, and rightly so. So how do you think, in general, French people feel about English becoming more and more dominant in their culture?
Well, just like in the song, many French people are understandably frightened by the unknown. The easy path is to stay in your comfort zone and reject what you don't know. Or you can try, open your mind and learn from this thing you don't know, or learn how to cope with your fear of the unknown, which is harder but often worth it. And today in France, I think too many people are unfortunately choosing the first option.
Mm-hmm. But do you think that their fear of English language dominating their culture is a valid fear? Is it a fear that should be controlled and the French language should be guarded more?
I don't think it should be guarded more. It's already well guarded by the people who want to keep it the way it is. But I think today in France people are frightened by these cultures that are entering the country and that they cannot control.
So do you think it's inevitable then that the English language will?
Yes, it is, because like I said before, it was it is a language. The language of is global, so you cannot avoid it on the international scene.
So the children that you teach, do you think they've got a sense of that English is the language English is very strong? And say when I was learning, well, it's not really the same, but when you were learning English, sorry, when you were learning English at school, that has changed, that the dominance of English has become more powerful, hasn't it?
Yes, it has, and the important thing is that the culture, there is a lot of American culture that is coming into France, and the young are very attracted to it, and maybe it's frightful for many people to see their young being different from what they know, and and that's it.
I know that I get a lot of people. I've lived in France for 10 years and I get a lot of people coming to me asking if I can teach them English or give their children English classes. It seems to be more and more happening. Well, Nick, you're going to pick a third song for us. Would you like to tell us what it is and why you've chosen it?
Yes, my final track is Imagine by John Lennon. I've spent a lot of time pondering whether this song was naive or unrealistic. But now I think of it as a reminder of what could be in the world if every person realized that we may be wrong in our beliefs, because that's what a belief is. You can't know what's happening, really, and that's okay.
Imagine there's no heaven. See as if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine their
from his 1971 album Imagine, John Lennon, and there's not really much to say about that song. It speaks for itself. Thanks, Nick, for coming on the show and sharing your songs and your personal experiences of teaching English. I'll ask you a couple of more questions before you go that you're not prepared for. Okay, I'm going to change the tone by switching to an offshoot of the jazz genre, acid jazz. Galliano were a band formed in the late 1980s, and a lot of their songs were either political or environmental, or a combination of the two, laced with good feeling and humour. This song, Totally Together, is from the album A Joyful Noise Unto the Creator.
Listen here, I'm totally gathered. Listen here, I'm totally gathered.
Is the snare prime? Is it click time? 50 Peter in the meter, yes, I get a wine. If you is a red eye, then you best walk with shade. If you is a high top, scissors overcome to phase. See, we don't do the hip hop cause we ain't hip hoppers. Don't know enough for jazz. Can't be jazz bobs, but the funk is the chunk of the music that we're making. I dig a little deeper and the route time we're taking. Destination hazy, ain't cause we're lazy, just boldly going where bass is getting bassy, so come and stand firm. If the rhythm rides your glee, feelers on my toes as I have the athlete feet. Then I boom, boom, then I rang, now watch it come back, I watch it come back, I watch it come back. It's a boomer, boomerang, ram, slam, babbity big boy. Never claim a hardcore, but here's a little more that I know you can't ignore. See, when I brush my teeth, I just use a pace. You know it's not a chili, cause you know I like a taste. When I sport and brief, I never wear them lace. And when I'm coming, but it's never in haste. Oh, chickity, chickity, chick, a chicky cham, cham. Can I get a bam if you trust Uncle Sam? It was a bam, how you know you can? You're betting on the winner and you got that almost wrong. See, pew, body McGrew, a covered dibble grub. You live long and prosper, just like Spock. Now who's it at the door? I'm sure I heard a Vulcan.
Listen here, I'm totally gathered.
Rhyming undercover like the Burberry lining. No creases in the looping, cause you know I can't be finding a little lump of hills getting in my way. A special agent needs a room for hip to sway. Sideburns getting longer, the funk is getting stronger. The G4 starting first, rhyming with the conga. Partaking in styles, connected by the vibe. Just trying to make the rhythm brief to keep the vibe alive. Need another slam, reaching for tequila. Maya introduce my mother, her name is Sheila. So what's talking mad? You got no hit, you're on your own. Being on the label means you get to use the phone. Crashing more than Wall Street, the drums that rock the house. Chase a funky snare like a cattle chase the Jerry.
It's Jerry, man. Tom and Jerry. Come on to the vocal. Tom's the cat, Jerry's the mouse. You know. And the vocal. Boom.
Listen here, gathered.
In the market we start marketing, but marketing of what? See, got a new sound. Well, problems what you got? If there ain't a definite crew, who you selling to? Everyone coming up now, I front you. Well, it's ziggity zang, zig zang, bullets past my head. See the smoking from the tongue, with the verbal lead. Caught in the crossfire, so what to do? Well, who gives a fuck? Let's just do it cause it's new. See what around that Tupperware, so funk ain't stale. I'm the one who stops a cab's complexion pale. Thinking up the thought, it may be time to utter. If you bet it's from the gutter, then you flutter. Well, I might see when the stuff is better. Hard as saying, yo, what's your toes doing? There's a thought, now I go. Hat is for wearing, cat is for purring. Rockabye means no tearing. This rhyme has lost its way, look at the state we're in. And I swore by the hairs on my chinny chin.
Chest.
Hey. Listen here.
Oh, no, man. You've done it again. You've got to sort it out. Understand, right? You don't understand.
No more verse.
Oh, wait a second. Listen, right. This is just one individual aspect of my involvement in music.
I might clap you with the rod of correction. Clever.
Listen here, I'm totally gathered. Listen here, I'm totally gathered. Oh yeah.
Dash it.
Galliano and Totally Together, which featured a sample from Jackie Mitu from the song of the same name that was released in 1970. In the same year, a British Afro-Caribbean band called Simmerip, hope I pronounced it right, released a song called Skinhead Moonstomp. And this song coincided with the moon landings of 1969, which fired everyone's imagination within the arts. The song didn't chart in 1970 but was released again 10 years later in 1980 during the two-tone craze that swept Britain. Skinhead Moonstomp spent 3 weeks in the British singles charts. Shine up your boots.
I want all you skinhead to get up on your feet. Put your braces together and your boots on your feet. And give me some of that old moon stomping. Get ready. We got 3 million miles to reach on the moon. So let's start getting happy now. Ready? Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Now, before we reach on the moon, fellas, we gotta make sure that everything is spick and span. All right? You gotta make sure you shine your boots. Brush your teeth, because the man on the moon looking different from man on the earth. That's what I say, boy. Now remember, I'm your boss, Skinhead speaking. My name is Caleb. All right. Right. And remember, I'm the boss. You can see, look on my foot, or my feet, whatever you want to call it. You can see I've got the biggest boots. That's all right. Now, when I said sing, I want everybody to get in the groove and start singing because we're on the moon. Ready? One time. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Now, I want all you fellas to get around me. And we're gonna start stomping. Ready? Here we go. One down. Now, we want to make sure when we get up in there, we got the moon in front of us. Now, when we finish this, we ain't got no problem on the moon, so we gotta wait till we get back to the earth to have a drink. Okay? Yeah. All right. Now, we want to make sure that everybody's still in the groove when we get back. So let's start singing one more time. Ready? Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Simmerip with the Skinhead Moonstomp. Okay, we're going to go back very far now in time, right back to 1390, which was the birth year of John Dunstable, an English composer. He was a big influence on French medieval music during the 15th century, as Dunstable was a frequent traveller between France and England. Dunstable was also a reputed mathematician, astronomer, and astrologer. He was a very talented man. Here is one of his pieces in Latin titled Quam Pulchra Eset Quam Decora. I probably pronounced it very badly. Nick, did you study Latin at school?
Just 1 year, and I have no memory of this subject at all.
So you can't translate that for me?
I'm sorry, I can't.
It's a good job I've got Google Translator, because it actually means how good and how pleasant.
Statura tu
had a few requests since the last show, and one I received in the week was from Jay, who lives in Hampshire, England. Jay has holidayed here in the Verdon area a few times and has requested a song by Jake Bugg. Jake Bugg is a singer and songwriter from Nottingham in England who picked up the guitar at 12 years old, and he was inspired by Bob Dylan, the Beatles, and the simplicity of the White Stripes. Jake is touring the UK and the USA March and April, and will be in France at the festival Art Rock between the 18th and 20th of May in Brittany. So, a short burst of Jake Bugg for Jay, who wants to hear it, who has chosen this because it reminds him of of doing nice things with his family and uncle, and he finds the song very uplifting. Thanks, Jay.
They grin but they don't mean it, they sing but they don't feel it, they come but they don't see it, they can call but they can't heed it, think but they don't speak it, there's a beast eating every bit of beauty and they all feed it. Stop, moment, try to freeze it, they find they don't seek it, at the bar but they can't meet it, try the best but they can't beat it, now call somebody keys it, there's a beast eating every bit of beauty and you stay feed it. Not a finger pointer, I will not cry your name, but yeah, brothers and sisters, we all want in the same. When my sister suffers, when my mother cries, all I wanna do is look in someone's eyes and say, you sleep and you don't dream it, sly but you don't seem it, busy as a flea bit, struggle to perceive it. Is it hard to believe it? There's a beast eating every bit of beauty and yes, you feed it. I'm not a finger pointer, I will not cry your name, but yeah, brothers and sisters, we all want it the same. When my sister suffers, I am my mother's child. All I wanna do is look in someone's eyes and say, somehow we better speak it, we're scared someone will tweet it, it's on the wall but you won't read it, it's gone before you see it, we all dread to repeat it, there's a beast eating every bit of beauty and yes, we all feed it.
That song could have easily come out of the 1960s, don't you think, Nick?
Yes, it quite resembles the music of Bob Dylan.
You're a fan of the 60s, Nick?
Yes, I enjoy bands like The Animals or the Rolling Stones and the bands from this period. I was born too late.
Yeah, me too. I grew up in the 70s with listening to music that came from the 60s, from my mum and dad, The Who, The Kinks, stuff like that. I think it is a very rich period of music, really.
Yes, I do too.
Okay, Jake Bugg there with There's a Beast and We All Feed It, as requested by Jay from Hampshire in England. A band that has also been an inspiration for Jake Bugg is a Liverpool band from the late 80s called The Lars. They released their debut album in 1990, which is a timeless classic. The Lars never really fulfilled their potential, mainly due to the fact that the band leader, Lee Mavers, was a perfectionist, and he shunned the limelight only to become a recluse. The Weasel family in Southborough, Kent, have requested probably the Lars' most well-known song, There She Goes. Amanda Weasel says, "We love the song because it reminds us of a wonderful weekend in Bristol when we were there to see my sister-in-law get married, and this was the song that my husband, Darren, the main Weasel, and his brother, Mark, walked their sister down the aisle to, a special moment we will never forget. We love the rhythm and the uplifting beat of the song." Thanks to Darren, Amanda and Thomas the Baby Weasel for this request. that was The Lars, There She Goes, requested by the Weasel family. Nick, are you a fan of weasels?
Not really, I don't think so. It's kind of pejorative word in French.
Weasel in French is
Fouine.
A cute little beast. Okay, remember you can make a request. Let me know what you'd like to hear and why you have chosen it, and we will try and play it for you. It can be from any moment in time and any musical genre, but it must be British. Nick, thanks for coming on and sharing your experiences with teaching.
Thank you for having me. It was really enjoyable.
I wish you all the best of luck with teaching the youngsters of today.
Yeah, thank you, and good luck with your show.
Thank you. Thanks for listening tonight. I'm going to leave you with this song from Radiohead, from their latest album from 2016, A Moon-Shaped Pool. The song is called Present Tense, and I think it's wonderful.